The Trump administration's operations targeting immigration and deportation here in Central Texas.
We will take a closer look at some local facilities being used to house those who the feds detained.
Federal authorities are still working to put together what happened in the crash between an American Airlines plane and a military helicopter. We'll have the latest on the recovery efforts and the investigation from D.C.
And coming up on First Warning Weather, we will be talking about a pleasant but warm weekend. Could we break some records? I'll have answers.
In-depth, investigative. This is KXAN News at Noon.
With renewed focus on deportation, we are taking a closer look at ICE facilities in and around Austin.
KXAN's Mercedes Hernandez learned what goes on inside a long-standing ICE detention center in Taylor has gone unseen and unchecked at a local level for at least the past 5 years.
She also found leaders at the Don Hutto Center in Taylor are staying tight-lipped about what goes on at the facility.
Razor wire and concrete make up the outside of the Don Hutto Detention Center. But what's it look like inside? We don't know. And it appears City of Taylor and Williamson County leaders may not either.
Laws and policies are federal government responsibility, not the county's.
If this facility closes, what happens to the women who are housed there?
Back in 2018, the county voted to end its agreement with ICE and CoreCivic, the contractor that runs the facility.
Shut Hutto down and tear down this wall.
The months leading up to the termination saw protesters speaking out against the center, alleging troubling concerns.
This is somewhere that is actively abusing women.
So the motion carries.
Since the partnership officially ended in 2019, the county and sheriff's office say they've had little to do with the facility. Deputies used to go by routinely as part of the contract, but the county says since it ended, they haven't been back. Sheriff Matthew Lindman declined an interview. His office gave us this statement instead, saying in part, the sheriff's office does not have a formal agreement in place with any particular federal operations related to immigration enforcement. The only partnership with a local government we could find was with Taylor's police department. It says it will assist with 911 calls there if needed. As of 2020, CoreCivic and ICE made a new agreement without the county. It outlines the minimum number of detainees and a work program. The facility is guaranteed to have at least 461 detainees. I asked CoreCivic how many detainees are enrolled in the program and what they do. It did not answer those questions, but gave me a statement that said in part, all work programs at our U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement contracted facilities are completely voluntary and operated in full compliance with ICE standards, including federally established minimum wage rates for detainee volunteer labor. The contract says detainees make just $1 per day.
Mercedes Hernandez joining us today. Mercedes, I know you're working to get clarity on that work program for detainees there. Have you gotten any details about what that entails?
The short answer is no. I haven't gotten any questions, but it's not, answers, but it's not for a lack of asking, certainly. I have reached out to the county multiple times and asked them. I've asked CoreCivic about the program multiple times, but there's been no clear answer. CoreCivic even referred me to ICE themselves, of course, and I've been reaching out to them throughout this story, throughout this week, multiple times. And along with questions on the program, I've been asking them about renewed capacity numbers, updating those, and if the facility only houses women as it originally was intended. But I have not received a reply to any of those questions as of yet, and I know a lot of our colleagues here at KXAN are having trouble getting a response too.
Still pressing for those answers. We appreciate it, Mercedes. Thanks again.
Of course.
And you can go on our website right now because we also reported about a federal building in downtown Austin that is being used as a migrant detention center. As I mentioned, you can read that investigation into the J.J. Pickle building right now on KXAN.com under the Investigates tab. A U.S. Air Force plane set to send back 80 Guatemalan nationals departed from the Fort Bliss military base in El Paso on Thursday. The migrants were deported under Title VIII, a law that allows for immediate deportation after crossing into the U.S. without authorization. On his first day in office, President Trump declared undocumented immigration a national emergency, tasking the U.S. military with aiding border security, issuing a broad ban on asylum, and taking steps to restrict citizenship for children born on American soil.
If you come to the United States and illegally cross the border in violation of 8 U.S.C. 1325, you will be removed. This is a significant consequence because for some people, it takes 30, 60, 90 days and a lot of resources to travel to the border, the southern border, before illegally crossing. We can have you back in your home country in 7 hours on a flight like this.
First warning weather with meteorologist Tommy House.
All right, guys, hope you're all having a great start to your day. Here's BK from Covert Peak Cave Auto Mall. Take a look at this. I mean, we have the winds ripping the flag a bit there, 5 to 10 miles per hour, as well as some gusts from time to time. Blue sky as far as the eye can see, not a single cloud. No need for that umbrella or rain jacket throughout the day today. Right now, 65. We were just at 61 an hour ago. So temps, they're quickly going up. Winds are light and variable, although gusty at times, and humidity overall on the low side at 31%. Now, compared to where we were 24 hours ago, east of I-35, we're about 5 to 10 degrees warmer today. Down toward LaGrange, 8 degrees warmer. We're 7 degrees warmer in Austin, and just a tad cooler out toward the hill country with a little more clear in there. All right, temperature-wise, 60 in Burnett, 62 in Lampasas County, 64 Llano County, 65 downtown. San Marcos, 68 east of I-35. Pretty much the same story. Temperatures in the mid to upper 60s at this time. Winds will continue to stay out of the northwest throughout the day, subsiding a little bit toward the evening. Not expecting any big significant gusts or anything like that. Wind speed of 18 miles per hour in Llano County, 16 miles per hour up in Milam County, and then there's the gusts up to 30 miles per hour from time to time. All right, high temperatures, we've been talking about this, continuing to stay warm, could be breaking some records early next week. Here's what's coming up. So today, overall is going to be great. Have your evening forecast for any sort of outdoor plans or activities. Record-breaking temps, as I just mentioned, and when will it rain? I'll have answers on when we could see some showers. That's all coming up in just a bit.
Tommy, thank you for tracking it for us. Investigators are working to piece together how a deadly midair collision happened between an American Airlines passenger jet and a military helicopter over the nation's capital. We want to take you now to a live look out on the Potomac as recovery workers are still working to recover victims from the water in the river there. Federal investigators say they're also working to give a timeline for their preliminary report.
At last check, authorities say they retrieved 40 of the 67 victims involved. Last night, the National Transportation Safety Board announced it recovered the cockpit voice recorder and the flight data recorder from the American Airlines jet. Investigators say those are key components in determining what happened in the final moments before that collision. Authorities say on Wednesday night, an Army Black Hawk helicopter struck an American Airlines plane coming in for a landing at Reagan National Airport. The crash killed all 67 people on board both aircraft.
On Thursday, authorities said both the plane and the helicopter were on normal flight paths and that the helicopter pilot told air traffic control he could see a regional jet. Authorities haven't said what exactly caused the crash. According to the Associated Press, the control tower staffing was not normal when the planes collided, though. That is citing a federal report obtained by the AP. During a press conference, the NTSB said it plans to release its preliminary report on the crash within 30 days.
We're here to assure the American people that we are going to leave no stone unturned in this investigation. We are going to conduct a thorough investigation of this entire tragedy, looking at the facts.
We're expecting more updates from the NTSB and the White House today, and of course throughout the weekend as it develops. We'll keep you updated on those.
Someone who has been outspoken about air safety is Texas Congressman Lloyd Doggett. He's repeatedly called for the government to look into staffing at our nation's airports, specifically for air traffic controllers. The congressman spoke with KXAN about a wide range of issues, but of course in light of what happened in D.C., he says he is continuing to push for changes behind the scenes at airports nationwide. Last May, Congress passed a reauthorization bill for the FAA. It directs the agency to hire more air traffic controllers and hit certain hiring targets. However, Doggett says it's not being done fast enough. There have been several close calls at Austin Bergstrom International Airport, including one in October, where a small plane got into the flight path of an American Airlines jet. Doggett says the lack of air traffic controllers is particularly bad for us here in Central Texas.
There clearly is a shortage of air traffic controllers across the country, but we are worse here in Austin. We're in about the top 5 in terms of shortages of all airports in the country.
When it comes to the training for air traffic controllers, it is highly extensive. It's done at the FAA Academy in Oklahoma City and can last anywhere between 3 to 5 months. Future air traffic controllers then undergo on-the-job training that can take even longer. That is part of the reason why Doggett says we need to figure out a solution soon. Coming up, the Austin City Council is making it a top spending priority to tackle homelessness. How it's determining what that could cost.
First warning weather with meteorologist Tommy House.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. Yeah, not too much action in the Lone Star State, but different story farther away west. How about the great state of Hawaii? There's a Kona low, which means there's a lot of rain and maybe even a little bit of some mountain snow that will be impacting them there. So let's see if we can zoom on in here. See if we're getting a little bit of some technology problems here. Sometimes the clicker does a little bit of a thing. Let's see if we can manually get through this real quickly here. This is not the most ideal situation when technology does this, but see if I can do this manually. And it looks like great. The graphics, well, they're frozen, so we're going to have to try to see if we can do a reset here, y'all. You're going to have to bear with us for a quick second here. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing. Let's see if we can try to pull something up real quickly here. We'll try to be right back. Got nothing. All right, let's send it over to Will. Yeah, let's send it over to Will.
All right, thanks so much, Tommy. 2 NASA astronauts began a spacewalk this morning to remove hardware from the exterior of the International Space Station. NASA astronauts Commander Suni Williams and flight engineer Butch Wilmore began today's spacewalk at about 7:43 Eastern, so 6:43 our time. The team will spend about 6.5 hours outside the space station to disconnect a piece of communication equipment and collect surface sample swabs to look for microbes on the exterior of various ISS modules. Williams and Wilmore have been in space for 238 days. They are expected to return in March. Now we have a bit of a fun fact from the ISS. Astronaut Suni Williams surpassed former astronaut Peggy Whitson's total spacewalking time of 60 hours and 21 minutes today.
Can you reassure TexTag customers that their experience will be different under Hectra?
KXAN investigators asked the group now taking on the state's tollway billing and customer service system, how will you prevent the same TexTag troubles we've heard for years from repeating? This is we discover new problems during the move to that new operator. Coming up.
Nearly 2 years after our team exposed major billing and customer service issues with the state's tollway system, we continue tracking the TexTag troubles that persist. Following our investigation, the state turned TexTag operations over to the Harris County Toll Road Authority in the Houston area in November.
But investigator Matt Grant learned for most that transition meant their accounts weren't transferred and became inactive.
Go back this way to the truck.
At 77, Mike Stratton isn't slowing down.
I drive a lot every day.
This Burnett County home builder says he drives hundreds of miles a day.
It'd be a lot easier if I could get on a toll road without him being harassed.
Racking up more than $1,000 in toll bills and late fees.
This is all 2024. This is 2023.
The Central Texas Regional Mobility Authority, which has customers using TexTag stickers while driving on its Austin area toll roads, labeled him a habitual violator, blocked him from renewing his vehicle registration, and sent his balances to collection.
This is my military retirement.
Aside from the CTRMA bills, Stratton, a disabled Vietnam veteran, traces additional toll troubles back to his TexTag account starting in 2023.
So why not just pay it?
I don't know it. I'm a disabled veteran. I earned that right. and I'm not going to pay something that I'm not supposed to be paying.
That's because many tolling agencies, including CTRMA and TxDOT, allow disabled veterans with plates like this to drive for free. Stratton says he spent hours on the phone and in person trying to clear his name and mounting bills, fighting for a benefit he earned.
Has that gotten you anywhere?
No. Not a bit.
Instead, he got this letter telling him his account would not be transferred over to the Harris County Toll Road Authority. Stratton is one of 1.4 million, or 60% of TxTag customers whose accounts were not transferred during the switch because TxTag says they weren't in good standing. His story now raising questions about how many other accounts were left behind due to possible billing mistakes.
How did Hectra and TxDOT decide which accounts would be transferred over? And then what happens to those accounts that are in this limbo status right now?
The decision on how to handle their accounts and which ones came over was more of a TxTag decision. Through the negotiations, what was determined was to just transfer over the accounts that were in good standing, and that's exactly what we did.
The executive director of Hectra, Robert Trevino, says his tolling authority was selected by TxDOT, the state agency overseeing TxTag, based on its 40-year track record in Houston.
Can you reassure TxTag customers that their experience will be different under Hectra?
Hectra's billing accuracy when you have a tag or transponder, we strive for 99% accuracy.
Trevino avoided answering questions about TxTag's performance, but did tell us
Hectra has a different way of doing business. It's unique. It's unique in the fact that we really focus on accuracy and on good customer service.
KXAN asked for responses to TxDOT's initial request for information to Hectra and other vendors, but TxDOT has asked the Attorney General's office if the records can be withheld. The switch to Hectra follows years of TxTag struggles with billing and customer service and several different vendors handling the system. The last contract costing more than $230 million over the past 5 years.
The issues that they were dealing with and the problems they had here, you don't foresee those same problems happening under Hectra, do you?
I'll just say that, we pride ourselves on accuracy, and we know what we've provided to our customers in the past. And we're going to provide that same level of service to all the new account holders that came over from TxTag.
TxDOT is still trying to collect $57 million in outstanding balances from TxTag accounts that weren't transferred. The agency also acknowledged there were accounts that still had credit totaling $6.8 million. Money TxDOT says it will attempt to return, but could eventually become unclaimed property.
So why the confusion if they have your records?
Because somebody doesn't know how to do their job.
Back with Stratton, days after we reached out, CTRMA apologized. The tolling authority says it will implement new policy changes to prevent future mix-ups, saying Stratton now doesn't owe a thing.
How do you feel?
I am happy.
So we call to give the good news.
If it wasn't for y'all, you'd have never got done. And I do appreciate everything y'all have done.
I made you a promise that I was going to show you me shredding this toll bill. Here we go.
With his bill problem solved,
it's gone.
Stratton now needs to sign up for a new toll tag. TxDOT is directing customers to Hectra for an easy tag, a move the agency previously said will save the state money and customers time.
You all are very familiar with some of the struggles that we've had, and this is going to be a much improved customer service arrangement.
In roughly the last 2 years, records we obtained showed Hectra received 76 escalated complaints, a tiny fraction of its overall easy tag customers. Most were about toll violations. We'll continue to monitor this system and wanted to see what state leaders are planning to do as well to make it better. So we reached out to every member of the Senate Transportation Committee and found some are working on legislation, like this bill right here, that would cap late fees to under $50 a year. We plan to reach out to every member of the House Transportation Committee to see if the Hectra switch and oversight are on their radar as well. At the Capitol, Matt Grant, KXAN Investigates.
TxDOT says you can call TxTag customer service to find out how much you might be owed. You can find that number in this story at KXAN.com.
And the agency also says refunds are being processed as quickly as possible to the card on file or by check to the address on the account. Under the state's agreement with Hectra, which took effect in November, TxDOT will continue to own and maintain its toll roads. TxDOT and Hectra both say this will streamline billing, and the Texas Transportation Commission will continue to set toll rates.
President Trump is now receiving backlash for his response to the deadly crash between a military helicopter and a passenger plane. We'll have the latest on the White House response ahead.
And two of President Trump's cabinet picks face some tough questions from senators. What lawmakers are now saying about his nominations.
In-depth, investigative. This is KXAN News at Noon.
In the first meeting of the year, the Austin City Council voted to make homelessness a top spending priority.
It is going to use new modeling from the Ending Community Homelessness Coalition, better known as ECHO, to determine how much it may need to spend. ECHO found that over the next decade, the city needs to invest at least $350 million to build new emergency shelters, rapid rehousing units, and permanent supportive housing if it wants to meet that need.
About a year ago, we just decided that it was about time to really understand not just where we are at currently, but where the population is going so we could appropriately plan. And so we decided to do that in conjunction with a lot of our partners and with the city to really understand what the cost would be and what would be needed as a result of that.
Only one Austin City Council member, Mark Duchin, abstained from the vote. He said he needed more information. He also voiced some concern about the overall cost.
Meanwhile, in an interview with the Texas Tribune yesterday, Mayor Kirk Watson spoke on if $350 million was an achievable plan.
The candid answer to that is that I think that is a plan that we should accept or receive or adopt as a guideline. I don't think that the governing body of the city of Austin ought to just adopt that ECHO plan.
He pointed to the city's new homeless strategy office as being a guide for the city on this front.
Coming up this weekend, KXAN will broadcast Governor Abbott's State of the State address. On Sunday, he says he'll be covering, quote, emergency issues he would like state lawmakers to focus on during this legislative session. His address starts at 5 p.m. and you can watch that right here or online at KXAN.com.
Returning to our coverage of that deadly crash over D.C. earlier this week, President Trump is facing criticism because some say he's politicizing the tragedy long before the investigation is complete.
During a news conference, the president blamed FAA diversity efforts along with his Democratic predecessors for the disaster. NBC News Chief White House correspondent Peter Alexander has the latest.
With the remains of victims still being recovered from the frigid Potomac River, President Trump blamed his two Democratic predecessors.
I put safety first. Obama, Biden, and the Democrats put policy first.
And diversity requirements in the military and FAA that he just ended with executive orders.
They actually came out with a directive to white. And we want the people that are competent.
Still, the president offered no evidence that diversity programs had anything to do with the deadly collision. His remarks began with a moment of silence and condolences.
We grieve for every precious soul that has been taken from us so suddenly.
But quickly took a sharp turn, the commander-in-chief criticizing the Army helicopter's crew.
You had a pilot problem from the standpoint of the helicopter.
Pressed how he could conclude diversity hirings contributed to the crash before all the facts were known.
I have common sense, okay? For some jobs, they have to be at the highest level of genius.
Among his targets, former Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg.
He's just got a good line of bullshit. He's run it right into the ground with his diversity.
Buttigieg calling the president's comments despicable, writing, as families grieve, Trump should be leading, not lying, adding, "We put safety first." The president also cited language on the FAA's website about recruiting those with disabilities.
It's on the website, the FAA's website. It was there in 2013. It was there for the entirety.
What I read.
It was there for the entirety of your administration too. So my question is, why didn't you change the policy during your first administration?
I did change it. I changed the Obama policy, and we had a very good policy. And then Biden came in and he changed it. And then when I came in 3 days ago, I signed a new order bringing it to the highest level of intelligence. Okay.
Later, the president dismissed a question whether he would visit the crash site.
What's the site? The water?
Or to meet with the first responders down there?
I don't have a plan to do that.
First warning weather.
And that was NBC News Chief White House correspondent Peter Alexander reporting for us from D.C. here. We're taking a look live back at home out from our Austonian camera over a gorgeous day. I just can't believe the turnaround we have seen from the pouring rain earlier this week.
I mean, not a cloud in the sky out there, Tommy.
Yeah, not a cloud in the sky. It's nice to have the technology working again here as we can show you. Yesterday, 9/10 of an inch fell, maybe just over. That puts us at about 2 inches for the month of January itself. So we're a little bit behind the deficit, but overall not a bad way to close out January. Kreitz Market providing us with this shot. This is Lockhart, not a single cloud picked up here on this view. Just a phenomenal day to get outside and do any sort of outdoor errands that you need to get done. Temperatures across the Lone Star State, upper 70s in the valley, 64 in Waco, 60 in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, low 50s up toward Amarillo, and then downtown Austin at 65 degrees, as well as Houston. Winds are light and variable, but they'll continue to blow out of the northwest at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Humidity at 31%, so a relatively drier air mass is at play from the winds out of the northwest. Here's the speeds: 18 miles per hour in Mason County, 20 miles per hour in Gillespie County, east of I-35 toward Lee County, in Rockdale and Giddings at 15 to 20 miles per hour. And then gusts at about 10 miles per hour. On top of that, up to 30 at times there. So we'll be watching that throughout the afternoon hours. Winds will subside toward the evening. Sunny skies, that's going to be the name of the game for the next 36 hours. Some cloud cover could build back in, and the rain chances are relatively on the lower end at just 10% Wednesday and Thursday. And these high temperatures, look how they gradually get warmer from the low 70s, mid 70s, upper 70s, and then some 80s. Could be breaking some records there. So could we break the record on Monday? We'll show you what the current record is in just a second. But for now, get outside and just enjoy the next few days or so, because this is a good taste of early spring for you. With rain chances returning next week, we'll show you that in just a second.
Tommy, thank you. We return to Washington, where Republicans are weighing whether to support several of Donald Trump's controversial cabinet picks.
It was a busy week for the U.S. Senate as Tulsi Gabbard, Kash Patel, and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. all faced tough questions over some of their prior statements and positions. NBC's Ryan Nobles has the latest on their prospects for confirmation.
A contentious day on Capitol Hill. Two of Donald Trump's top national security picks facing tough questions about their past controversial records.
Senator, I will always obey the law.
Kash Patel, Trump's pick to run the FBI, taking tough questions about his calls for political retribution against Donald Trump's opponents and his efforts to overturn the 2020 election. But he broke with Trump when it came to the issue of pardons for some January 6 defendants.
I'm asking, was he wrong to do it?
I do not agree with the commutation of any sentence of any individual who committed violence against law enforcement.
The tough questions for Patel came mostly from Democrats. But for Tulsi Gabbard, Trump's choice as director of national intelligence, a great deal of scrutiny came from Republicans.
I want to make certain that in no way does Russia get a pass in either your mind or your heart.
Senator, I'm offended by the question because my sole focus, commitment, and responsibility is about our own nation, our own security, and the interests of the American people.
Gabbard pressed about her calls for a pardon for Edward Snowden.
Edward Snowden broke the law.
Who fled the U.S. after releasing a trove of government secrets.
Is Edward Snowden a traitor to the United States of America?
I understand how critical our national security is.
Apparently you don't. Apparently you don't.
Republicans left the Patel hearing confident he was on the path to confirmation.
Oh, there's no question he gets confirmed.
While their support for Gabbard was tepid. Only Matt Gaetz, Trump's original pick for Attorney General, has dropped out of the running. Trump has made it clear he wants all of his picks confirmed.
Well, sure, we want fast confirmations.
Ryan Nobles reporting for us. Back here in Texas, 2 confirmed cases of measles have popped up in the state. That's according to the Department of State Health Services. Both cases are in unvaccinated school children living in Gaines County. That's in West Texas. Both were hospitalized in Lubbock, but they've since been discharged. This comes after 2 unvaccinated children in Harris County tested positive just earlier this month. The state says measles is a highly contagious respiratory illness and can be life-threatening. Symptoms usually begin 1 to 2 weeks after exposure. They include high fever, cough, runny nose, and red watery eyes. That's followed by a rash on the face that then can spread to the rest of the body.
There may be a new treatment for pain that is less addictive. Yesterday, the Food and Drug Administration approved an oral tablet that is a non-opioid. It's called Journavax. The FDA says it will treat moderate to severe pain in adults. It says it's the first drug approved in this new class of pain management medicine. The drug works by blocking the pain signals from traveling to the brain without stimulating opioid receptors or producing feelings of euphoria. Experts say the drug is ideal for patients who cannot take other pain medications.
Ooh, I love this next story. The perfect cup of coffee. I'm always on the hunt for it. An MIT professor is giving people a class on coffee. Some things he says can improve our morning cup of joe. We are taking a live look outside, a gorgeous look out at Lake Travis there from our Oasis camera. Quite a different look. I think just a few days ago, this looked a little ghostly and foggy out there, but we have got the sunshine, and it's sounding like it's going to be a great weekend out on the water. Tommy's going to have your full weekend forecast coming up in a few minutes. This next story is for us coffee lovers, though. So have you ever wondered what goes into the perfect cup of coffee? The Massachusetts Institute of Technology is trying to figure that out. They've got a coffee class giving students a hands-on experience to fuel their curiosity. Carla Rojo takes a closer look.
As everybody knows, the taste of coffee is actually a very personal and complicated experience.
The perfect cup of coffee is in the eye, or rather in the mouth, of the beholder. Jeffrey Grossman is a professor of materials science and engineering at MIT.
I have a personal passion for good coffee.
A passion he's taken to the classroom, creating a course called Coffee Matters, using the breaker space to make the perfect cup. In this class, you can find microscopes, computers, and, well, a $20,000 espresso machine.
So in this class, they get to think about the material. They learn about it, coffee, right? They get to, touch and feel it.
Grossman says he combines lectures on chemistry and coffee science with hands-on experiments for around 60 undergrad students. Like if coffee is too acidic, students learned that you could add a pinch of baking soda to neutralize it. He tells us one of those projects was inspired by his father.
I've had this fight for running for 10 years now, where he nukes his coffee all day.
The conclusion? The students say that heating your coffee in the microwave changes the chemistry of it.
It does make a difference, and to them, it tasted worse.
Another test they did, comparing the liquid gold from our world-renowned Dunkin' Donuts and coffee they roast and brew themselves. So, do they believe that America should run on Dunkin'?
As a true, Bostonian, and I'm not going to say anything that could say anything negative about Dunkin'.
Grossman says 2024 was the first year teaching this class, and now the second round starts next week.
All right, Tommy, this story was made for you.
Yes.
Our Boston
Bostonian, yeah. It can be -50. We got to do the iced coffee always.
Ice from Dunkin'.
The regular is 2 sugar, 1 cream in Boston. Usually, some people may say it's milk instead of sugar. For me, it's 2 caramel, 1 cream. Caramel, not sugar. That's my Dunkin' order.
That's the Tommy recipe.
That's the Tommy.
The famous Tommy
Everyone
House
gets
Dunkin'
their own
order.
specialty drinks these days. We have to do a
why
little
not?
bit of appreciation.
Put the flag on it, take claim. Yeah.
The Tommy.
Yeah. And good segue here. Freddie's good at these, but temperature's warm. May need a nice coffee instead of a hot coffee.
There you go.
Look, I'm not as good as the guy with those transitions. And you know what? It's okay. It's okay. Clouds are in the radar right now. We're dealing with just a high pressure overhead, and there's really not a lot to talk about weather-wise in Texas, so you have to go all the way out to Hawaii for the big weather story. First thing first, they got a Kona low pressure. We're seeing significant rainfall for the Big Island there, and even the Big Summit's going to get some snow out of this. How about this? Winter storm warnings in effect there for Hawaii. So something you don't see every day, so I had to highlight it. Rest of the lower 48 is pretty boring weather-wise. Here's your evening planner downtown in Austin, 68 at 5 p.m., 60 by 7 p.m., 56 by 9. Notice the clear skies that will remain throughout the day today, overnight into your weekend. And that's going to be the story Saturday and Sunday as well. 74 on Saturday, a normal high is 64, so about 10 degrees warmer than normal. On Sunday, 79, so 15 degrees warmer than normal. And maybe could even see an 80-degree day on Sunday itself. Here's why. Here's the upper-level low-pressure system that we've been tracking for some storms yesterday. That's going to move out pretty quickly. And a zonal flow, which means no big dips. If this blue color you see in Canada here, if that were to dip all the way down to the southern plains, that's why we would get some 30s and 40s for high temperatures. So that's all going to stay up to the north. Storms are going to steer away from us, so high pressure is in play. So really no need for the umbrella or rain jacket till maybe Wednesday and Thursday, and even then it's just a 10% rain chance. So notice all the storm activity is up toward the Dakotas and the Midwest, even across maybe the deep south and central states, but Texas itself is staying relatively dry. So that's why just a 10% chance for any sort of precipitation on Wednesday and Thursday itself. And our high temperatures are going to be in the 70s and 80s for the time being. Gradually getting warmer by Sunday into Monday, 82 on your Monday, then back down to the still upper 70s Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Set back in 2008 and 1911, 81 was our high temperature here in Austin. And I'm going with 82, and even some computer models are saying 83, maybe 84 degrees. So we'll see if we get updates on that later on today. 72 for a high today, though. Mild temperatures, winds will be out of the northwest, and maybe some gusts from time to time. And tonight back down to the low 40s. It's going to be just fantastic to get outside. I'm going to say get outside if you can, as much as you can this weekend. If the 80s are too much for you, well, 70s are perfect. 74 on Saturday, 79 on Sunday, 10% chance of rain on Wednesday and Thursday.
Tommy, thank you. Some students were given the gift of music this morning on their way to school. We'll show you why local bands took to playing at elementary school drop-offs next.
And tickets for South by Southwest are now officially on sale. We will share who is headlining this year after this. And here's a look at what's coming up tonight on KXAN at 7 o'clock. It's Happy's Place, and at 7:30, Lopez versus Lopez. Then at 8, a new episode of Dateline NBC. And you can join us right back here for KXAN News at 10. Today, Austin students are getting a treat for their ears. The We Love Austin Music Week celebrations are happening at elementary schools all across our town. Eanes Elementary School had live music greeting students during the morning drop-off. Sounds so beautiful there. At Langford Elementary, the school band and orchestra hosted a special performance on campus. Then at Casey Elementary School, the student band played during a morning assembly, and a former student is playing the piano during their lunchtime. The Texas Cultural Trust started these annual celebrations to help teach kids about the role of live music here in our city.
We'd love to see that. If you missed it, the world watched a very special benefit concert on Thursday night. It's to help people impacted by the LA fires. The Fire Aid benefit concert featured a star-studded list of performers. Green Day opened the show with an appearance from Billie Eilish. And then there were 28 performers, among them Pink, Alanis Morissette, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, No Doubt, Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, and many more. The event also featured both celebrity and some non-celebrity speakers, including people who lost their homes in the wildfires there. Organizers say 100% of the proceeds from this concert will be going towards fire relief efforts. In addition to ticket sales, organizers expect to raise money from merchandise sales and donations made by those who were watching the live feed from home.
We certainly hope that will help. Now, tickets for South by Southwest here in Austin are now on sale. General admission tickets became available on Ticketmaster at 9 o'clock this morning. If you're hoping to check out the headliners for the music portion of the festival at the Moody Amphitheater in downtown, here's the lineup. Country star Co Wetzel is kicking off the concert series with a performance on March 13th. That's followed by Grupo Frontera on March 14th. Dance music artist John Summit will then wrap things up when he takes the stage on March 15th. Wonder how those ticket sales will go. I would imagine they're going to be pretty quick.
Yeah, gotta hop on it. Gotta hop on it if you're still looking for it. And honestly, it's going to start feeling like March this weekend.
No kidding. Maybe even further than that, like May and June.
Where was this during ACL, right? 70s and sunshine. I mean,
oh, that would have been nice.
Not to bring back 100-degree trauma.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah, we're not. I'm gonna quickly segue to the 7-day here. 70s for the time being, maybe some 80s. I mean, isolated 80s Sunday and Tuesday. Monday itself in Austin, I'm going with 82. Our record's 81, set back in 1911 and 2008. I think we'll break that record Monday, and then it's going to be upper 70s for the time being. All the storms steered well up to the north of Texas, up toward the places like the Dakotas and Midwest. So just 10% rain chance on your Wednesday and Thursday. I'm not really seeing any sort of big signals for severe weather anytime soon, and also no cold air for the time being.
That 82, though, on Monday that's expected, you were mentioning that could exceed the record, right?
Yeah, I honestly think it will. A lot of times computer models underplay setups like this with good southerly winds. So maybe 83, 84. A lot of sunscreen in the forecast for me. I mean,
oh my God.
Fluorescent lights cause me to burn, so I'm going to need extra layers of sunscreen.
Same here. That is definitely my situation. It's so wild to have to keep changing clothes.
Yes.
Like, leave the winter stuff, bring it back out, put it away, get the shorts back out. You know, it's just so, it changes so much.
Yeah, and shameless plug, our First One Weather app will have those changes for you, you know, with the weather continuing to evolve.
Got to download it.
Got to download it.
Good to plug it as always. Well, thank you all for watching here this afternoon. We will see you back here in about half an hour or so. For now, enjoy the rest of your Friday afternoon and your weekend. Take care.